Beautiful people, welcome. Welcome to Tuesdays Live with me, Elena Harder. And today we are going to be talking about how your story is stopping you from living in more ease in your business and your life. And what are the most common stories that we tell ourselves about what we need to be or need to do to succeed. And what's possible now that we're in 2019 and there are new energies, tools, and new consciousness for us to be engaged with and be involved with that are offering new ways of being. So thank you so much for being here. Again, if you are watching this live or if you're watching in the replay, I super appreciate you being a part of the community, watching. I love getting notes from you guys saying that a talk impacted you in a positive way. And I love that we're getting to showcase so many of the really talented people in the community who are doing really amazing work in terms of shifting and changing the collective consciousness of the planet. So if that's you, we do have some spaces open in July for featured teachers, and I'd be happy to have you on for either an interview or a demo. That's something that we're rolling out with New Earth Online, and super grateful for New Earth Online for promoting and being a part of what makes this whole thing work and what makes the experience of being here with you guys possible today. So without further ado, let's dive in. I'm grateful to have you guys here. So how is your story stopping you from living in more ease in business? Well, this one seems pretty self-explanatory to me. Maybe you have an experience of doing this, of having a story around how it is that you relate to life. I know that Matt Can definitely smacked us all on the head a little bit and said, nope, don't call it a story like it's just a thing. Oh, that's my story, and sort of placing it to the side. And I think that's good wisdom in that a lot of the time there is this sort of spiritual bypass or this experience of pushing our real experience, our felt experience aside and being like, oh, that's my story. So I want to acknowledge that before we get into this, that there is a lot of value in giving space to that story. And there's also a lot of value in recognizing that it's a story and that it may or may not be applicable to your current moment if you really open your eyes and look around to see what's happening. So the moment and the experience that's possible is that's possible in every moment is that we have the opportunity to recognize that this moment is not the past. And I know that in my sort of earlier phases of Wake Up, there was a lot of me that wanted to say, this is my story. You must hear me. You must believe. You must understand. You must be here and understand. And there was a lot of pain wrapped up in past stories about how life had been, how challenging things were, what was. Quick hello to Mike and Alina and anybody else who's online. Super great to see you here. There was a lot of wrapped up energy in that story. And there's this really great book called The Breaking Out of the Money Game, and there's various variations that aren't the money game that talk about this experience of having a really intense emotional experience. I'm talking specifically about panic attacks, total freakouts, numbness, and even sort of the more subtle versions of that of pausing, getting stuck, not moving forward. All of the various forms of procrastination and avoidance that we have to avoid the things that are really important and valuable in our lives and the things that really help us create a new way of being within that. Hi, Alina. Thank you. And so we have this capacity to human beings are so unique in that we have the capacity to experience moments from the past as though they are real and lived right here. And I don't know if you've had this experience. Maybe you can post in the comments or put some little hearts if you've had this experience of feeling like life is about this big. I know sometimes when I get caught in my head, I feel like the entire world is this big. It's wrapped around my head. That's it. And I can't think beyond sort of this tiny little box that I've created for myself. Hey, Mike. Hey again. And so when we've got these stories wrapped around our head and we can't see past them, we've got this story of, I need to work hard to make it work. I need to do these things I don't like doing. I need to push through. I need to do XYZ on my website in order for people to buy from me. I just want to like smash that one right now. I've seen some of the more successful people that I've known in sort of small healer-based size businesses. I've seen many, many, many people who have no websites who have thriving businesses. So that's not required, although it can be helpful in various ways. But we have these stories that stop us. So we're like stuck in some sort of fight or flight that is related to a past moment of trauma that isn't real and alive right now. But because of the way our brain has wired in order to defend ourselves, we've created, whoop, here it is again. And all of a sudden, we're right back in that same moment. And this is what's commonly called a story. This is a story. It's a moment where we re-enter a past moment, as we do when we're telling a story. And these past moments then have power over our lives. And so what a lot of people do, and what I sort of spoke about earlier with Matt Kahn saying that, no, we don't want to call it a story and push it aside, right? And what we want to do instead is we want to honor, oh, at some point in the past, this was so impactful for me that I didn't have the capacity to deal with it in that moment, and I put part of myself aside in order to keep moving in the current moment. And when we can recognize that and be like, oh, okay. And in this moment, this particular story, this particular experience is wanting to be whoop, right up at the surface and is available and ready for healing. And when we can see it that way, instead of, oh, here's my story. Oh my God, I thought I healed this already. I thought I'm done already. I thought I processed this already. Didn't I process this 5 years ago? I thought I was finally fucking done. Well, I'm sorry. You're never going to be done offering compassion to yourself. You're never going to be done loving. You're never going to be done extending compassion to others once you move forward. Hey, Jesse, the Twilight Zone, indeed. And welcome to Angela. And it says there's a couple of you guys on here that I can't necessarily see. So if you're on and you haven't said hi, please say hi, because I love seeing you guys. Give a little wave there. Even if you're watching the replay later, I love seeing you guys. And I love responding to the comments. It's a great part of my day. So there's these stories, right? There's these past stories that are stuck in our consciousness. And what we have the opportunity to do in these moments of pain is to really stop, pause, be present with the feeling, be present with the sensation. And what I found across the board in my own experience and in the work that I've done with emotional catharsis with others is when we really give the emotion full reign. I mean, it's like next time you're feeling a little sad, give yourself a 10-minute timer and be like, I'm going to be as sad as I possibly can and fully express this for the next 10 minutes. I guarantee you'll last like, I don't know, 3 minutes. And you'll be like, man, I'm tired of crying. And then maybe it'll re-trigger, give yourself the full 10 minutes and see what happens. But so often in life, the way that we've been, the group, the culture that we've been enmeshed in is so not forgiving of tears, is so judgmental of emotions, is so no, feels like you're going to get punched in the face if you let a single tear fall from your cheek. And it's like, that's not, it is true in some places and in some parts still, but more and more we are creating worlds and containers. Many of the people that I've been featuring and interviewing have been offering these containers of what is it to feel safe in that emotion. And we can start by creating that safety within ourselves. We can start by creating that safety with ourselves by allowing space for that emotional processing. And if that doesn't happen in the very moment, by sitting at the end of the day and saying, what did I feel today that I didn't maybe fully process? And when we do that, we renew and we revitalize and we keep ourselves present with the present moment. I often say that people die because they're stuck in the past and they can't catch those parts up. So in order to let it all go, they got to let go of everything. And it's like, well, we're moving into a time in 2019. I said I would talk about that is we're moving into a time where the rules of the past did not apply, where the rules of what was true for how we do healing, for how we experience ourselves, for the reality of quantum reality to manifest. Yesterday, I had a phone call with a lady named Yvonne, who was a different Yvonne than the one I was hoping to contact. And she messaged me back, and we had this misunderstanding because she was also looking for a message from Elena. So Yvonne and Elena messaged a different Yvonne and Elena. We both thought we were going to get on the call and talk to a different person. We got on the call and we were like, whoa, who are you? That's so cool. I was like, this is not what I was expecting. She's like, this is not what I was expecting. I was like, what are you up to? She's like, I support women entrepreneurs in business. I said, that's fantastic. I love that. I love supporting women entrepreneurs. I love supporting entrepreneurs indeed. And it was like, we just had this great connection. She connected me with two people I wanted to meet and chat up with. She's hosting an event coming up, supporting women in corporate, like corporate business women. And I was like, whoa, I totally forgot that was even a thing, corporate business women. So we were just like same sides of a different coin. And it was like, that kind of experience is what's available now. That kind of experience is what is available when we tap into something bigger than I need to, I should, I have to, I don't want to, but I'm going to anyways. Ugh, gross. So when we move forward and we move into this place of moving beyond that past story, moving beyond, oh, this is how it used to be, this is how it was, like I want you to look at anything in your life, like right now, everybody who's live with me, everybody who's watching the replay later, like just pause and let's take a moment of something that you really want, but you don't have yet. You got it? I know what that thing is for me. So we've got something that we really want, but we don't have yet. Now, what's the story you're telling yourself about why you can't have that? For me, it's like, I haven't set up the thing. I haven't asked here, here's my offering and receiving back. I have to practice that act of receiving. I don't know what it is for you guys. You can put your thing in the comments if you're feeling brave, if you're feeling above average brave. I'd super appreciate that. And so whatever that thing is, we've got some sort of story wrapped around why. Now, where did that story start? It doesn't really matter where it started, to be honest. There's good catharsis work that can be done, but if you've done that catharsis work and you're still reeling around and this story is stopping me, here's a quick hint. The reason you're still reeling around it is because you don't have a pattern interrupt. There isn't this like, here's my story, I'm going to feel it fully, and then I'm going to come into a different state. It's like, here's my story, I'm going to ignore it, push it aside, try not to feel it, something, and then I'm just going to keep going on about my life. Well, we haven't addressed it. We haven't moved into it. We haven't shifted it. We haven't allowed it to transform. We've just simply pushed it aside and kept it there. And when that happens, it's harder to move forward because I see it as let's see if I don't have an elastic. Oh yeah, this will work. Here, I see it as like an elastic band. There's only so much stretch in this thing. And this green star, that's where we want to be. We want to be up here being like, wow, victory. And we can only do that so much as long as we've still got really traumatic stuff hanging out back here being like, but that time that this happened, that time that happened, it hurts so much, right? Imagine you've got these two voices in your mind trying to say different things and there's only so far they can get before it snaps. And we don't want it to snap. We know what that feels like. Maybe we don't. I don't know. But like, so we just play smaller. People just play smaller. Like, oh, maybe we'll just put the dreams back here and we'll just live life stuck in pain. I'm sorry. What did you just say? No. You are a human being here to experience your true godhood on this planet Earth right now. If you are watching this, 100%, that is part of why you are here. You would not encounter me, okay? And so you deserve that gold star, or the green star, whatever. You deserve to live in that dream. You deserve to live in that experience. And we have these stories that are in the way. And as we move through these stories, as we begin to build not a weekend getaway that solves everything, not an experience that transforms me forever, although these things are wonderful and powerful, but ideally those experiences crack you open and give you the skills to be able to crack yourself open over and over and over again as you move through the tiny moments of life. Because it's not necessarily the things that you bump into in the workshop that cause you to transform rapidly. It's Kaizen. It's this daily constant improvement. It's this experience of opening, cracking a little bit deeper every day and being like, right, it's okay for somebody else to make me coffee in the morning. Right. It's okay to be loved and adored. Right. This is a scary moment in my life because I'm used to being treated badly in this moment. And it turns out the person who's there is really quite lovely. And I don't actually have anything to be scared of. So when we have the tools that allow us to anchor that experience deeper, when we have the tools to be like, oh, this is scary, and be like, is it now scary, or is it old scary because it's or is it scary? Is it old scary, or is it scary because it's unfamiliar? And once we can identify that, it's like, oh, okay, I'm actually safe in this moment. Actually, I'm in my own house in a very contained, like the door is closed, the windows are closed, there's nobody bashing through my windows. I'm actually physically safe. So then the fears have a little place to relax and reside and move into a more wholesome place. So we've talked a lot about the story and how the story's stopping you. And that's one thing. But again, the story is based in the past. The story is based in things that have happened and how we're dealing with the things that have happened in our lives. And I want to talk a little bit about what's possible in 2019 with the new energies, with the new tools, with the new consciousness. And so what's possible in 2019, and those of you who are energetically sensitive, tuned into collective consciousness, is likely that you felt a really big shift between August to October of 2018. Last fall, there was this huge shift that happened. A lot of people had their lives just like totally scattered and shattered, and things they thought were well on track went sideways, and things that they thought were for sures went exploding. And that's because we brought... That's because we brought to an end a cycle of 7 and 9 years in Scorpio energy, my God, that were really challenging, and we were wrapping up any of the challenging pieces that were involved in that. And for me, that looked like completely transitioning the business that I was involved with, completely transitioning my relationship, and like no longer being in contact with somebody that I had been madly in love with, and needing to move back into clear space. That was how it showed up for me, and it shows up differently for everybody. But whatever it was that you'd been sort of working through, and a lot of people have been on their awakening journey from this period of about 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, sort of there's a group of us that have been going through this shift at that time. And what's available now after that October piece and anchoring stronger and stronger, coming up with this last full moon and the one prior where it really hit home, is that we are really able to live in a world where the rules of the past no longer apply, where the rules of, but this happened and this is how it needs to be, like those things can really not impact your experience at all ever again when you make the conscious choice to completely let them go. Whereas in the past, we might have had moments and experiences where we worked to completely let them go, but they still didn't let go, right? Whereas in the past, we might have had this experience of like doing the processing, doing the work, doing the healing, and having this feeling of, oh, this thing is still here. It's because collectively our consciousness was within a karmic cycle that required those of us who are leading the way and in this edge living conscious evolution piece compared to, let's say, the rest of the planet Earth, those of us who are in that leading edge, we literally needed to work through some of these deeper, darker patterns. And anybody who's had a shit show of the last 7 years, like just throw me a wave there. I know my last few years in my awakening journey have been hellish at times and heavenly at others, right? And so there's this opportunity now where, with conscious consideration, with the same practices or new practices that we've been practicing, we have the capacity to completely release those patterns. And we're seeing this come forth in new healing modalities that don't have any resemblance to the ones of the past. We've got a really exciting interview coming up and a really exciting demo coming up with Julie about new healing modalities. We have the opportunity to transform into people that we have dreamed of being. We have the opportunity with these new tools, let's say even the digital tools. So I don't know how many times I've had this idea of, oh, I want to do this. Oh, hey, Shelly. Hey, Chance. Good to see you guys. And thanks for everybody who's still here with me. Those those new tools, like the other day I was like, man, I wish we could get off Facebook. I wish we could create like a private community that was nurturing and supportive and really only had, the really stellar people that are really doing this work. If we could just have them in a specific community and really create a great container that wasn't interrelated with all of this like Facebook stuff, although I super appreciate being able to reach you guys on Facebook, the desire for this contained community. And then like 4 days later, it's like this ad pops up, this piece pops up and is like, hey, have you been wondering about XYZ? Here's the thing. Here's an app. It's fully designed. It'll just create your community in a couple of minutes. And I was like, it already exists. That's so cool. And I'm finding this more and more and more where the tools already exist. And so it's simply a matter of bringing them together. And that's a great example with New Earth Online as well. One of the things that we've created in order to embody and hold this new energy frequency is here's all the things. Here's all the tools that you might want and need in creating an online marketplace, in creating an online experience. So many of the people, I've spent the last 8 years doing web design for conscious businesses. And it's just like, it's few and far between the people that I've met who are like, yeah, I love marketing my business. It's my favorite part. I am not terrified at all. I'm totally brave and courageous in sharing it. And you're like, right. And those are just the only people who have that are the people who've moved through the challenge of feeling paralyzed at some point, or they're people who were raised in really, really, really supportive households and never picked up that, I can't do it. I can't do the things I love doing, blah, blah, blah. And so those people are few and far between. And so we have created this platform that allows people to just pop in and do internet business in such an easier way and fill their personal at-home practices, their digital practices, their studio practices, whatever it might be, that they're offering, the physical products, even bookable services, podcasts, and get more eyes on what it is that they're doing. And it's beautiful because I've spent so many years sort of like gritting my teeth towards business, partially because I just wanted to be momming with my son and I was earning an income. Challenging. And partially because of my own programming, my own stories around this like life needs to be challenging. I can't get paid to do the work that I love doing. I can't do the work that I love doing because I don't have enough time because I'm working on XYZ, whatever. And this is what I've spent the last 6 months working through as I'm holding space for this new project that allows everybody else to do it. And it's been such a journey. Oh my God, what a journey. Yeah, I'm just going to take a pause here. Chance said, I love the concept that some of us had to go through a tough time healing ourselves individually in order to help shift the global consciousness. Isn't that what I just said? Great. We've got to move through it. So on behalf of light workers, I was like, okay, I'm stuck in my own pattern. I'm stuck in this big pattern that we're all in, and I can't really stand in my true light until I work through on some level, all of these pieces that touch the collective, all of these pieces that the collective holds. And so it feels really great to be in a place where I can say, yes, great. Now that has happened and this place is welcome and available for people to share what they're doing. And that's when I started doing the lives a little bit before I felt like that, because that's part of moving through it is like, and it's part of the joygasm too, is this idea that when we hold a high state, when we hold a meditative state, when we hold a joyful state, when we're in love with life, when we're in love with business, when we're in love with our experience of ourselves, when we are really feeling good in that, it pulls us higher. Same this thing. We're like living up here in the green star, right? It's going to show us anything that's still holding on back here. And when we're able to just let it go and say that was something that happened in the past and I recognize that it impacted me and it doesn't need to impact me anymore. When we do that, it goes from like holding on to it and then we're able to move forward, and then we're able to move up, and then we're able to make progress forward, and then we're able to see and utilize and access those tools that make our work effortless. Then we're able to see and access the funding and the resources that we need to make our work really work. And It's super powerful. And these are things that truthfully haven't been available because our collective consciousness is not there. If we consider that we are holding space for an earth in which people are living in harmony with nature and technology and themselves and the animal species and the insects and the plants, all of these things, when we consider that we're holding space for a world in which people understand their passions, understand their purpose, understand their unique gifts, whether that's music or art or business or building things or creating things or fixing things or tinkering or inventing things or cooking or tidying or whatever those gifts are, we don't often consider people who clean for a living as engaged in their passion. But what if they could be? What if they could be? What if making things meticulous and perfectly clean, like to the dime, was something that thrilled somebody's soul? Maybe it doesn't thrill your soul, but maybe it thrills their soul. This is what we're holding space for in terms of an empowered and enlightened society. And when we hold space for an empowered and enlightened society, it requires us to let go of that shit that we're holding on to at the back and keep moving forward. Yeah. Yeah. Super good. I love you guys. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I remember many moons ago, I don't know, it's probably been about 4 years, truthfully, that I felt these lives coming through, and then I felt like if I was just doing lives, everything would be, that I'd be moving forward towards this. And I had this little voice that said, "You can't do it. Nobody's gonna listen. It's stupid. You don't have anything to say anyway," right? Just sharing my own personal experience, holding on to these things. And meanwhile, this little shining star is wanting to shine. And so sometimes it just takes action. I wasn't ready to start, so I asked somebody else to show up with me. They bailed, and I had a choice of whether to continue to not do what I've been dreaming of doing again and start another year, so that next year it would be 5 years that I had been feeling this call and not really following it. Or I had the choice of doing it and showing up. And I want to give a shout out to Melissa MD Sterling on Facebook here for doing lives live and telling me it was a big commitment and that it was challenging to show up and find time to be here, and that it was worth it and that it was worth doing it anyways. So, yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Melissa, if you want to come on, you're totally welcome to. If not, that's totally fine. I think we're going to wrap up here. Anybody who's still here watching live replay, super appreciate you guys. Super appreciate you being here. And we're going to close out with a couple of ohms because it's my favorite. Thanks, Chance. Hey, Robert. Thanks for showing up and being part of the magic, Maggie. Super appreciate you. Thank you, Angela. Takes one to know one. Glad to see you in your power, too. I appreciate you. Appreciate you all. And for anybody who's been watching this, been here live or in the replay, I super appreciate you guys. if anybody has a conscious business that they've been working on and feeling like maybe there's more to share, more to shine, and that they're not fully living that potential, not fully living aligned in that, I welcome you to send me a personal message. I'm opening up a few spots to do a small group program with conscious entrepreneurs so that we can create little pods where not only are we, for the time that we're together, holding each other and me holding space for the group, but also pods where the practitioners who are involved are truly co-supportive, not only in terms of their own practices, but also in terms of mutual support, friendship, and connection, and creating ideally pods where a person who was looking to be guided on their awakening journey would be given all of the resources and a collective consciousness of a group of practitioners who are holding space for them to really transform. This is a huge part of the work that I feel called to do, and a huge part of the experience that we are beginning to offer through New Earth Online Marketplace, and a way to connect with other conscious entrepreneurs that allows you to really feel safe, a safe space to explore those more painful, darker sides, specific processes to help you gain the tools to really effectively move through those with the new tools, as well as continually up-level your skills and capacities. So if that's something that you feel called to be a part of, please send me a private message. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to invite you and see if you're going to be a good fit for what we're doing. And as always, if you have an amazing conscious product, conscious business, conscious service that you're offering, I always welcome those connections so that we can feature more of the amazing people in our local Calgary community and expand to other communities once we have mapped a good chunk of what's going on here. So I love you guys a lot. I'm super grateful, and thank you again for allowing me to be in my gift and my service. I love you guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And we'll see you on Thursday. We have a really cool chat talk coming up on Thursday. Check out my Facebook page tomorrow for a note on who we have and what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be awesome. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for everybody who was here with me through the whole thing.